Today we are going to create embankments at both ends of the highway overpass in Echo Canyon on my N-scale layout, and we're going to do it right now. Hi, I'm Roy Smith. Welcome to episode number 7 in a series of episodes about the construction of Echo Canyon on my N-scale layout. In today's episode, I'm going to be working on the embankments at both ends of the highway overpass in Echo Canyon. I still have a lot of work to do in the canyon and elsewhere on my layout, and as I do that work, I'd like to share my progress with you because sharing the hobby is one of the best things about model railroading. So if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and hit that little bell icon so that you're notified each time I upload a new video. You will recall that in the last episode, that is episode 6, I built an embankment along Echo Canyon Road. I did this in order to replace a retaining wall that was there previously. You will also recall that I assembled a Rick's Products highway overpass to put at the east end of the canyon. So today's work is really a continuation of what I did in last week's episode. The embankments at both ends of the highway overpass that I am going to build in this episode are part of the embankment that stretches along Echo Canyon Road. First though, let me show you 2 photos of the prototype so that you can see what the real overpass and surrounding terrain look like. This is where Echo Canyon Road ends by joining Interstate 80. I am trying to create a scene on my layout that looks something like this. I would love to include Interstate 80 in honor of my trucker friends who travel through here all the time and who share their first-hand observations with me, but there simply is no room for an interstate highway on my layout. Here's a closer view. Note the embankments at both ends of the overpass. These embankments are what I'm trying to create in today's video. Before doing anything else, I want to double-check the clearance from the railheads of the tracks up to the I-beams of the overpass. Naturally, I'm going to test the clearance on both the inner and outer track. I decided that I need just a little more clearance. So I have raised the overpass up by 1/4 of an inch. Now I don't need to cringe every time my double stacks pass under it. Okay, let's get the overpass out of the way. Raising the clearance of the overpass means that I also have to raise the level of Echo Canyon Road to match the level of the overpass roadway. Here you can see that I have already done this. I have done it by gluing cork roadbed on top of the existing road. Here's that embankment along the road that you saw me build last Saturday. I was hoping to have a chance to paint it with earth tone colors to match the colors of the prototype at Echo Canyon, Utah for today's episode. But I didn't have time because real life got in the way of my model railroading. You know, grocery shopping and medical appointments and stuff like that. I sanded the cork roadbed down and have also applied some spackling paste where the cork arrives at the previous level of the road. Having raised the level of the road, I must now also raise the level of the embankment along the road. I am using Sculptamold to do this. Sculptamold is drier and firmer than the spackling paste which I often use in my scenery work. So Sculptamold is less likely to flow down the embankment as I apply it. As you can see, I am applying the Sculptamold in a thick layer to raise the embankment up to the new surface level of the road. Sculptamold is very easy to work with. All I need to do is add water to it and apply it with a putty knife. It holds its shape very nicely. But of course it will take a long time to dry because I am applying it in a thick layer. Now I have to put the overpass back on the layout, but I don't want it to end in midair like this at the edge of the layout. It looks like this car is going to plunge into a bottomless abyss if it goes any further. Fortunately, I have enough space here to build an embankment here at the east end of the overpass, and that's what I'm going to do. To build the embankment, I'm once again using stacked up layers of white styrofoam, just as I have done elsewhere in Echo Canyon. I have glued the layers of styrofoam together using Elmer's glue all and am placing them on the layout. I will be carving the styrofoam to shape its contours. Remember, the styrofoam is just a scenery base because I will cover it with spackling paste, and I will then carve rock strata into the spackling paste. I am going to install cork roadbed to the back of the styrofoam. This will protect the styrofoam and it will look like fascia when I'm done. Once I've painted it, the cork fascia will be quite strong and will look like masonite fascia, as you will see. Doing fascia like this is a whole lot easier than cutting masonite. Midwest Products N-Scale cork roadbed comes in strips that are 3 inches wide. Right now I'm test fitting it. It's the perfect width to cover the back of the styrofoam. Before gluing on the cork to the back of the styrofoam, I have applied spackling paste to the embankment and I'm carving rock formations into it. I have added a piece of styrofoam for an abutment at the east end of the overpass. There's another lower abutment at the west end. I will be painting the abutments a concrete color at the same time that I paint the overpass itself. Alright, I have glued the cork fascia onto the styrofoam. I will hold it in place with Woodland Scenic's foam nails until the glue dries. And naturally, I will have to remove the cork roadbed along the upper contour of the embankment. While the glue that is holding the cork fascia in place is drying, I am doing some more rock carving on the embankment. I like to use an old X-Acto knife to do this. This is a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing scenery work. All of that stuff that looks like talus at the bottom of the embankment comes from the carving I am doing. Now I have already removed part of the cork fascia. I really should be giving the glue more time to dry, but I'm anxious to get on with this project, so I'm going ahead and removing the rest of the cork fascia above the embankment. I find that an old razor saw works best for doing this. Of course, the foam nails will remain in place overnight while the glue dries. It doesn't matter if I damage the embankment a little bit as I do this. I can easily fix it by applying more spackling paste. Well, there you have it. We went from this to this in today's episode. And now we have embankments at both ends of the highway overpass. I have removed the foam nails from the cork fascia and have applied the first coat of dark gray paint to the fascia. I have painted the embankments with a yellow desert color and have repainted the road. But I still have some work to do. I have to apply earth tone pigments to the embankments so they match the prototype in color. I have to weather the road using diluted white paint. I have to apply more spackling paste around the piers of the overpass so that they look like they're embedded in terrain and not just sitting on top of plywood. I have to paint the overpass and abutments with a concrete color. And I have to plant vegetation in the seam. I want to do all of this prior to next Saturday's episode if real life doesn't get in the way of my model railroading again. In next Saturday's episode, I hope to widen the benchwork by 2 or 3 inches at Echo Canyon so that I can add Echo Creek and the vegetation growing along the creek to my layout. This should add a lot of depth and interest to the scene. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I encourage you to give it a thumbs up. As always, feel free to post any comments that you may have down below because interacting with others in the hobby is one of the best things about model railroading. Remember, I post a new episode every Saturday morning, so I invite you to subscribe and hit that little bell icon if you're new here so that you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy railroading. I will see you again very soon.